Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Masters of the Universe, the board game, Clash for Eternia, Part 2. So in Part 1, I went over the basic rules of the game, kind of turn structure, what you can do, what the game was about. So if you want to go check that out, see what the game's all about, go ahead and check out, link in the description. This video, we're going to start going over the actual character cards and the miniatures. And we're just going to do it all at once. There's only 6 of each. There's only like 12 plus a couple of minions, so there's not too much. But we're going to first look at, we got good old He-Man here. And we're going to look at just some of the stuff on his card. I'm going to explain how his card works. And then when we hop to the other characters, we can go through them a little bit quicker. So to start off, of course, this is a player card. So there's 2 different sides of the team. There's players, and then there's the controllers. The players, each person will get a separate character card. They will eventually get separate skill cards they can use. And so if you're playing one player, you can play as multiple characters, but you'll have somewhere between 1 to 4 different characters or miniatures you're playing as. And they'll have these big cards. And then the relevant information on here is, of course, their health, how much health they start with. Their 2 abilities. There are some characters that will have a defense ability as well. So I'm going to bring up Man-at-Arms here. So he has a defense shield on the left side here. Just shows how much damage he blocks. And then below that, say their first skill. Most characters have 2 skills, basic skills. Some characters occasionally only have 1, depending on what they do. So you have Sword of Power, and then it says how many dice you roll to attack and what type of attack it is. So he rolls 3 dice to do a melee attack. Then below that, it shows 2 power lightning bolts, which can be used to pay for an attack boost. So he can roll 3 additional dice up to the max 6. So if you have that, you can go ahead and boost that. So it might just depend on who you're attacking. You're attacking a minion that has 1 health. You could probably risk just the 3 dice and get 1 hit off of it. You're attacking another character, you might want to roll an extra dice. And then he has Indomitable, which lets him spend 2 for a bonus action to heal 2. So he can do that instead of using his attack. If he has 4 energy, which is the most you can save, you could potentially do both if you'd like, with your 2 actions during the turn. Then each character will again gain multiple small cards, which we'll go over He-Man's in just a sec, but they'll have various abilities on them as well. So we'll get those in just a sec. The other side we flip over, this is the controller side. The controller always has 3 characters. So they're gonna have, and lots of the skills are gonna be the same. So either the skills on this card will either match the player card, or slight variations, or they'll sometimes match the abilities. Like He-Man here has Sword of Power, and he has I Have the Power, where the player character can gain I Have the Power ability. So they'll always have access to this. The player character will always have the access to the same abilities as the controller character. They just might not always start with the same stuff, but the controller character also doesn't gain any additional effects. But he's not the same thing. Sword of Power does 3 dice per melee, and yes, I Have the Power to spend 2 to perform an action. All adjacent enemies suffer 2 wounds and become dazed, or he can spend an additional into Surge. This becomes a bonus action. And what bonus actions are really powerful because you only get 2 actions per turn, which can be move, interact, attack, and do whatever. But if you spend that extra point, because Surge becomes a bonus action, it doesn't take your additional action point away. So then you can still do 2 other actions, but they have to cost 3 points to do it. So you might be able to go out and do Sword of Power twice or move. So very good there. And then if they become empowered and they gain their ability, so instead of gaining skill cards, like the player character does, the controller can empower their characters. And it says each time He-Man activates, he heals 1. So that could be very helpful to keep him alive. Then the third type of card we have is a one-sided, which will actually just say AI character. And it's going to be very similar to all of them. They're all that's just nice about this game is each type of player that can play as a character doesn't change very much. So this He-Man again stays at 10 health. Not going to guarantee that every single version of a character stays at the same health or has all the same exact or all the abilities work the exact same. So don't always just assume because he has sort of power, then different versions will always be the same. A common one I see a lot is like laser pistol or laser rifle, which is on a lot of different characters' cards. They don't always act the same from character to character. So always make sure you read your abilities. Luckily, this sort of power works the exact same. And then he has a skill which says, I have the power. Heal 2, and all enemies in the 4 spaces become dazed. So again, that doesn't work the exact same. But the way the AI character works is they don't get extra actions and get to move around and stuff. Basically, they're going to draw a card that'll tell them to either do an attack or do a skill. So depending on which one they draw is going to be what they do. So they have to make their abilities a little bit simpler for their abilities. Plus, it costs a little bit less because they don't have being an AI-controlled character, not controlled by another person, they don't have the ability to switch around to different things. Alright, so that is He-Man. So we're going to look at his skill cards here in a sec. Let's take a look at his miniature fast. So not really, I have terrible lighting and I apologize. Let's see if I can... I think I can fix this. 1 sec. Alright, that's probably the best lighting I'm gonna get. I have find a better setup for taking pictures of these minis, but there's He-Man and all his He-Man glory, kind of recreating that pose on his card, of course. Like all CMON games, very highly detailed miniatures. They made the heroic characters in a lighter color, like this pinkish color, versus the evil forces, which are kind of like a gray. The other thing, just to point out, I'll zoom back out for this, not going to really need to necessarily, but we do get 3 black bases to snap on. And this is so if you're playing them as the controller player who only has 3 characters, you can tell them apart. Because, again, one way you can play is you can play the Masters versus the Evil Forces. So, He-Man's team versus Skeletor's team, of course. Then you can tell them apart because they're different colored models. But if you decide to start playing, mixing different things together, either mixing the good and evil forces, or if you get the expansions, you decide to start playing factions against each other. So, if you have the Snake Men versus the Horde, or Skeletor... some of Skeletor's men versus other Skeletor's men. Then you can easily tell which characters are which because of their bases without having to try and remember. But they didn't give them for the good characters because it's either you have a base or you don't have a base, is the idea of it. I think just to save money and stuff. Alright, so let's look at He-Man's skill cards here, and I knocked everything down. Alright. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, so on the border of the card, they're going to be a different color. We have green, yellow, and red. So basically, they're the levels of your skills you learn. Green first, then yellow, then red. And when you hit that escalation point in the game, you get to pick which one you want. So again, this works based on your play style, the scenario of the board, who you're fighting against, maybe what power you need, or other characters you have. I mean, there are going to be a lot of different options, but it makes the game a little bit nicer because it's not randomly drawing a card and then being like, oh, well, this card doesn't help me. Some games do that. And then you have to toss it away. This, at least you have the options. So, He-Man here can do a throw, which we looked at earlier in the last video. So you can spend 1 to throw, which pushes enemies wounded by this attack up to 2 spaces, so that just shoves them away. They can attack boost it if the enemy and adjacent to another enemy, perform a 3 ranged attack on that adjacent enemy. So basically, you're using that one as an attack, and it cannot generate. Energy. So if you roll the skulls, you're not adding extra skulls or extra energy for rolling Castle Grayskull. Then if we flip to his other side, he can instead do a charge. So let's perform 1 move action, then perform 1 attack action. So it kind of combines that, and if you surge it, the attack may reroll any dice. So it is interesting there, though, it's because you have to pay that surge cost before you roll the dice. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So you can do that. So if he's just using his base thing, he can basically charge, and then you can use Sword of Power. Because that's at this time that's his only attack. So he can perform 1 move, spend 1 of his action points and 1 energy to move and then attack. And then you can surge it for a second one, and he could potentially re-roll it. So if he knows that 3 dice isn't going to be enough, he could spend 2 action dice. He could spend 4, and also add the attack boost to it as well. And then you have 6 dice, which then he could use that surge to re-roll up to 6 dice, which would be a lot more helpful. His next card in the yellow is Deflect. He has a defense bonus. Roll 3 dice for each sword, gain a shield. For each Grayskull or castle, gain 1 shield, and the attacker suffers 1 wound. So this is definitely a way you could take someone out before their turn even starts. And then we have Earth Shatter. So this is a 4 dice attack, which doesn't have to pay for. Target 1 space within 2 spaces of He-Man. This attack hits all enemies in a line between He-Man and targeted spaces. You can attack boost it, targeted space within 4 instead, and then attack boost, enemies in those spaces become dazed. Now you can choose either attack boost or both. You don't have to choose them in order. But that's cool. So basically, you can get the thematic ability of that too, where basically he's ground pounding or slashing into the ground and he's shattering the earth towards characters, putting the ground open. So you can either do it small or you can do it stronger and hit up to farther away. Then his red ability, he has I Have the Power. The first time He-Man activates each round, this skill gains 2 energy. So you can gain extra energy for this very quickly. And then you can spend 2 to all enemies within 2 spaces suffer 2 wounds and become dazed. Or Surge, this becomes a bonus action. So you can keep putting that. So basically, he can use this for free every turn, because every time he activates, you get 2, but it does cost him 1 of his 2 action points. But you can surge it instead to pay an additional 1 to make it free. Then he has a very unique last ability, which is Battle Cat, which will give him 1 extra shield. So as replace He-Man with the He-Man on Battle Cat model, he gains a 1 extra defense. So regular He-Man doesn't have any defense; he's just all brawling. And then you'll have 1 with when he has He-Man on Battle Cat. Then he has a move boost. He can move 1 space, move boost for 2 spaces, or reaction. When He-Man or an ally is attacked, push He-Man up to 3 spaces after the attack. So this lets him get closer to that ally. Or move him away, whichever direction he needs to go. So what is cool there is, now we're going to switch back over to our miniature. We have the Battle Cat, He-Man on Battle Cat miniature. So yeah, if you select this as his last skill, you actually get to put this miniature out, which now takes 2 spaces on the board. It's just going to make him harder to get through, like ruins or something. But he does gain all them extra move bonuses, and then he still has access to all of his other skills, which is really cool. Then the other thing we want to show off with this is we have the mounted card. So this is He-Man on Battle Cat. So if you're a controller and you want to play as He-Man on Battle Cat, you either play as just He-Man or you take He-Man and Battle Cat. But now notice that this He-Man now only has 8 health instead of 10, but he has that 1 shield to begin with. And his abilities are Claw and Sword, 3 melee, attack boost, roll 1 die, may split the attack dice between 2 adjacent enemies. So that's kind of fun. So he gets 4 dice, which he can split up between 2 different characters. Then he has Battle Cat, which has the move bonuses. And bonus action, He-Man on Battle Cat may perform 1 move action. So he can move additional spaces, or he can have a free move action. And then he has Empowered. After completing a move action, He-Man on Battle Cat may perform 1 Claw and Sword attack. So yeah, that's definitely a neat idea there. So yeah, if you're just regular He-Man as a player character, you only get Battle Cat if you get to the end of your skills. But if you're playing as a controller, you can choose to start with He-Man on Battle Cat, which is really cool. Alright, we're going to hop into our next character, our next master, which is, oh, I threw that in, Man-at-Arms. Alright, so here's Man-at-Arms basic card. So, let's get that miniature really quick, as long as we're zoomed in a bit. Of course, Man-at-Arms has that classic yellow and green armor. He's got his gun, and like lots of master characters, he has the tufted underwear shorts. Alright, so Man-at-Arms, unlike He-Man, who had 10 health, he has 6 health, but he has a shield right off the bat, so he has some defense. So yeah, He-Man will be able to take more damage overall, but he can't block any of it. So he'd only take 10 actual damage to take him out. Whereas Man-at-Arms is going to take 6, but every time he gets hit, he's going to block 1 of those. He has a laser rifle, which is 3 ranged. Reaction. After rolling the attack dice, reroll any die. And then rapid fire. Bonus action. Perform 1 laser rifle attack. So yeah, he can use his 1 action to just normally spend laser rifle, or once he has his energy built up, his power built up, he can perform 1 extra for free. So he could, and since you can have 4 built up on a, is it 4 or is it 5? It is 5. So he can have 5, but since he'd spend 2, he could potentially do laser rifle 4 times in a match. If he, depending on what he rolled, if he gained extra power, he could keep doing it as well. Because he gained them gray skulls, you could keep placing them. Definitely cool. And then we have Man-at-Arms here as the controller. He has a laser rifle again. With the attack boost, letting it become a bonus action. And he has tactical reposition. Push Man-at-Arms or 1 ally within 4 spaces of him up to 3 spaces. So let guys move around. It's interesting to note that sometimes they have these pushing versus moving, because there are restrictions for moving, but there's not restrictions for pushing. And we have Surge, may ignore terrain penalties and move through enemies during this push. So that's cool. So you can basically move people wherever he needs to. And then it's Empowered. When attacking for each gray skull, after rerolls, roll 1 die. This can exceed the limit of 6 dice. So yeah, he could definitely have some very powerful attacks there. Then he has his AI ability, which is laser rifle again. Reroll any attack dice, and after this attack, perform 1 additional laser rifle attack to not be boosted. And then Master Strategist. All AI characters heal 1 and move 2 spaces towards the closest player character to them, stopping if they come within attack range. So that could be very bad for an AI setup, but that's how AIs are. Alright, then we have his skill cards. Tactical reposition, so we just saw that, but action, pushes Man-at-Arms or 1 ally within 4 spaces of him up to 3 spaces, and Surge may ignore the terrain penalties. And then we have Overwatch. Reaction, when an enemy ends a move action or performs an attack within 4 spaces of Man-at-Arms, perform 1 attack on that enemy before they attack. So that's actually a really cool ability. So yeah, they move towards you or try to attack you. You gotta try and attack them first. Helpful, like super great against minions because you'll probably kill them. Bigger guys, it might not hurt them, but it also says when they end or perform an attack. So they don't even get the option to be like, oh, I'm not going to move. So you can obviously let them move or attack first and then choose to pay your reaction ability before that occurs. Then we have Stun Beam, a 3 ranged attack. 3 dice and ranged attack. For each success, the enemy also loses 1 power. For each power they can't lose, they suffer 1 wound. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And then attack boost, enemy wounded by this attack becomes dazed, which makes sense. It's a stun beam. Or he has a grenade. 4 range. Target 1 space within 4 spaces of Man-at-Arms. This attack hits all enemies within 2 spaces of targeted space. Attack boost after the attack. Push all hit enemies up to 2 spaces. Now, definitely neat. I still wish there was friendly fire in games like this. I get you can't target, like I can't use my laser rifle to shoot He-Man if he's on my team, which makes sense. But like I feel like area of effect attacks like this make the game more strategic, and more realistic, I guess, for a fantasy cartoon game. If like it said he attacked on 4 spaces, does hits on all characters within 2 spaces, and then you can push all characters. Because it doesn't make sense that He-Man and Skeletor can be standing next to each other. He can throw this, and the grenade just hits Skeletor. But, that's just my thought on it. Alright, then we have, for our red skill, we have Onslaught. Each time Man-at-Arm KOs an enemy, this skill gains 1 energy, or power. Boost any attack, plus 2 dice, or boost any attack for each gray skill, roll 1 dice. This can exceed the limit. So that's actually cool. So he gets, so kind of like He-Man's I have power, which gets him that bonus every turn. This is very much the same idea, kind of like their ultimate skill, which would boost all the rest of their stuff later in the game. But instead of having Battle Cat, he gets enhanced gear. Man-at-Arm uses boosts on himself or any ally within 4 spaces, so either gain 1, 2, or 3 defense. So that's actually really cool too. I'm assuming it's a one-time bonus though, it's not like a permanent boost. But yeah, definitely a fun thing that his character can do. Alright, up next we have Tila. Oh no. Alright, we have Man-at-Arm's daughter, Tila, here. So she has 7 health and 1 defense. So a little bit more health than her father. She has Sword and Shield for 3, but doesn't have any extra skills towards it. So, it's one of them ways that they can kind of change the stats around. And then she has Captain of the Guard. Action, spawn 1 Royal Elite Guard minion in an adjacent space, and bonus action, activate all Royal Guard Elite minions within 4 spaces. So, yeah, so she can summon the Elite. So there's 2 types of minions, generally. There's basic ones, and then there's the Elite version. Then there's Elite minions. The basic ones can start on the board, with, like, the controller. They can start them, but Elite minions can only be summoned using someone's skills. So there's usually less of them, but they're a little bit more powerful. But yeah, this is cool. So she gets to be a summoner type character, which is always a fun thing to have. And then yeah, you move them around, basically spawn them and have them. You opt to move them around or activate them, which means they can do attacks as well. And then if we look at her controller version, she has Rallying Strikes. Tila may use this boost on herself or any ally within 4 spaces. Attack boost. For each wound dealt, heal 1. And then she has Captain of the Guard, spawn 1 Royal Elite, or activate within all 4 spaces. And then Empowered. Royal guard elite minions within 4 spaces of Tila may always reroll any attack dice. So she's going to gain bonuses by sticking near those guard and actually leading them into the battle. So she's not like summoning them and then standing in the back and sending them to their slaughter. She's actually going to be in battle with them. And then her AI version, she has Rallying Strikes again. With each wound dealt, healing all allies in 4 spaces, heal 1, and then summon guard, spawn 1 guard, and that surge that guard immediately activates. Now again with the AI characters, what's interesting though is because you're not controlling them, is basically they're going to do abilities in the order. So if like she's told to do a skill and she has 1 energy, she won't do the skill. If she has 2 energy, she'll summon the guard. If she has 3 energy, she will do that and surge. But she only does it if she has that amount of energy built up. Or power. I keep saying energy because lightning bolts. Alright, let's look at her basic skill cards. We have Rally. Tila may use this to boost on herself or any ally in 4 spaces. Attack boost. Each wound dealt, heal 1 damage. So that can help keep her alive. Or other master characters, but it's not going to do much for the minions because most of them only have 1 health. Then she has Whirlwind, which costs 1 power. This attack may be used on enemies up to 2 spaces away and hits all enemies within 2 spaces of Tila. The attack boost, all enemies within 2 spaces are pushed away 1 space. They're kind of like the grenade, just to a lesser extent. But it's also a melee attack. We have defensive stats, which when this is activated, now she has an additional shield. And then she has defense boost. For each miss, the attacker suffers 1 wound. And bonus action, flip this skill over. So this is a fun thing. There are some characters that let you use multiple sides. She can be defensive and have extra defense and potentially, counterattack people. Or she can flip to offensive stance. Attacks roll +1 die. And after rolling attack dice, she may reroll any, and she can spend a bonus action to flip this back over. So she can flip between her 2 different stances. That gives her a little bit more flexibility is the word I was looking for. And then her red, she has command. 1 free bonus action. 1 Royal Elite Guard within 4 spaces performs 1 attack. Bonus, an ally within 4 spaces performs 1 attack. And then Surge, +1 die roll may reroll any die attack. So cool, and that's all these bonus actions as well. So you can spend 2 of them, have 2 different characters help attack different areas. Basically telling someone else what to do. And then she has Inspiring. Royal Elite Guard means within 4 spaces may reroll any attack dice. Reaction. When Tila or an ally within 4 spaces is reduced to 0 HP, roll 2 dice. If you roll any range, they are not KO'd, but remain conscious with 2 HP and gain 1 power. So that's really cool. Because it works with the allies, helps keep them all alive. Definitely, I'd have to look in the book to see if allies and minions are equal to each other. Let me just see if it has it in the glossary here quick. Yes, ally. Any other friendly model character or minion. It's actually really helpful with the minions because they don't have a lot of health to begin with. But definitely cool. Alright, let's take a look at her miniature quick. We'll zoom in up on her. She got, of course, her nubby shield there. There's some good little detail on there. See if I can get a little bit closer up look at that. Oh, no, camera. Don't fall. There we go. That's good detail on there. Alright, so that is Tila. Let's jump over to our next character, we got Ram Man. Well, I have his miniature up here. We'll take a little bit quicker. He does that. I always love this toys figure as a toy because he had like he was like straight up and down. He didn't have movable legs, but like you pushed his torso into his legs and then you let go and he sprung forward. So as a kid, like where toys were actually meant to be more played with and not like today where they're just collector pieces. Which, hey, I'm a fan of having highly detailed toys. They're collectors, but I also like the ones that were just like, this character has an arm that swings forward and does an action, like where they actually made them with like playable components. I thought was really fun. Alright, so here we have Ram Man. He starts with 2 defense. Makes sense. He's a big, bulky, armored character. He has Slam. Attack boost. Roll 1 dice for every 2 wounds Ram Man has suffered. So as he takes more damage, he will be more powerful. And then he has Ram. Push Ram Man up to 3 spaces. He may move through and end on spaces containing enemies. They are pushed 1 space and become dazed. Cool. That's actually really fun. So basically, it's a 3-space charge. And then wherever he ends up, everyone he hits becomes pushed and takes 1 extra, becomes dazed. So you could push them into other enemies or out of the way or however. But then, yeah, they're becoming dazed really affects them because then they have less armor. And then they have, they can't move as fast and all that other terrible stuff that happens in your days. Alright, so his controller side, he also has Ram. Push him up to 3 spaces, move through enemies, same thing. And then they suffer 1 Ram attack each. So it kind of mixes those 2 abilities together. So it does 3 dice normally, but then after if you spend the extra hit with them, then you get to deal damage to each person. And then we have Taunt. Push all enemies within 4 spaces, up to 3 spaces, toward Ram Man. Bring them all together, so then you can ram them. Empowered. If an adjacent enemy performs a move action, perform 1 ram attack on them before they move. Cool. So definitely nice. Instead of just doing the 1 normal damage, just to perform a full attack on them. Then we have his AI version, which has Slam. Attack boost, 1 die for every 2 wounds, and then Ram. Pushes up to 5 spaces, may move through enemies, and anger enemies, and push them 1, and then suffer 1 Slam attack. So it's actually pretty powerful. Alright, now let's look at his special skills. We have Counter Blow. Reaction. After being attacked from an adjacent space, roll 1 die for each wound Ram Man has suffered from that attack. For each sword or skull, Castle Gray Skull, the attacker suffers 1 wound. Yeah, so if he gets, so basically he's the tank. He gets hit, he's going to take damage back or hit guys that he's near. We have Spinning Cleave. Before or after performing this attack, he may push Ram Man 1 space and hit all adjacent enemies. So that's cool. Again, you get to move him around so he can do as maximum amount of damage as possible. He gets the Taunt. Push all enemies within 4 spaces, up to 3 spaces towards Ram Man. And when enemy within 4 spaces activates, push them up to 3 spaces towards Ram Man. So you can bring them farther. Now, I know push seems like a weird thing to say push towards when you think it should be pull, but I understand. I'm fine with that as a definition to keep that the same. Just because it's always pushing means just it's not moving, it's pushing. We have Guardian. Reaction. When an ally within 4 spaces is attacked, move into their space and push them 1. Then become the target of that attack. So that's kind of cool. He dodges in front of people. And then his red one, he has Hothead. Reaction. After Ram Man or an adjacent ally is attacked, perform 1 attack on the attacker. So there's lots of counter attacks. And his last one is Big Skill is Juggernaut. Each time Ramman suffers wound, that's just still gains 1 energy. Spend 3, he performs any 1 action. So yeah, every time he takes damage, it's all the stuff that boosts him for taking more and more damage. And then this can actually help him even more do them actions more often. So definitely an exciting, different character. You can see so far we have 4 characters that all play very differently, which is how a base game should be. We'll see how well that keeps track once you start getting all these expansions and all these stretch goal characters, because at some point you're going to start running into like, what can you do with everybody? Alright, up next we have Stratos. So we've had a pure tank character, we've had a damage character with He-Man, we've had a ranged character with Man-at-Arms, we've had a summoner character with Tila, and now we get Stratos, who's going to be the movement character. So he has 8 health, he has gauntlets, which lets him do 3 melee or 3 range. That gives him some good versatility. And then Winged Warrior, move boost for either 1, 2, or 3 spaces. So that's actually really good. He can get around very quick depending on how much you want to spend. His controller side has Rocket Rush, 3 melee attack boost. After this attack, push Stratos into the enemy space and push them 1 space, so he can shove them while he's attacking. And then he has Avian Bombardiers. Targeting enemy on the battlefield, not in ruins. They suffer a 3 ranged attack. This attack cannot generate power. Surge, roll +3 dice. So that's actually pretty cool. So basically you can hit anyone, anywhere on the field, as long as they're not hiding in the ruins, which are essentially like a building. And then Empowered. When using Rocket Rush, may push the enemy 1 space for each wound they suffer from the attack, to kind of blasting them away. That's actually really fun. It's a really cool ability. Then his AI has the Gauntlets again and the Avian Bombardier, which work very much the same, so I'm not going to keep rereading all these, because my voice is starting to kill me. Alright, I'm going to zoom in a bit here. We have Improved Gauntlets, the attack boost for melee only. Roll +1 die, wounded enemies become dazed, or attack boost for ranged only. +1 die, hits all other enemies adjacent to that enemy. So that's kind of fun. He already has a good versatility with those 2 different attacks, but now he can make either one a little bit better. Or he can use that Rocket Rush, which is 1 die asterisk for a melee. Rolls 1 die for every space Stratos has moved during this activation. And then attack boost after this attack, push Stratos into the enemy space, then push them 1 space. So that's kind of funny, because he has 2 actions. He could always use his move boost. He could potentially spend up to the 3 on the move boost for Winged Warrior, which costs 1 of his things, to move 3 spaces, and then Rocket Rush into them with his other attack action, do up to 4 dice. Or if he only spends 2, he does 3, does 1. Or if he just does a regular move action, even if he doesn't spend any extra points. Yeah, definitely fun. He can do some different stuff with that. Then he has evasive maneuvers, some extra shield. Reaction after Stratos is attacked, push him up to 2 spaces, lets him back away. And bonus actions, flip this skill over. Ooh, so like Tila, we have another flippy character. He has Carry Ally. Move boost. After Stratos moves, target 1 ally. Target 1 ally he began adjacent to or moved through. Push that ally adjacent to Stratos. Cool. So yeah, if you're doing a move, he can move action already. You can spend 2 to move them. And then any ally that he either started with or moves by, he can bring with him. So he can rearrange these guys around the field. And you can spend the extra bonus action just to flip this over and go back to the dodging. Like, hey, I'm ignoring your allies. Let me go back to this. Alright, then he has Bomb Drop. Move boost. Stratus may move through enemies during this move. After moving, roll 2 dice against each enemy moved through for each of the following results. Range suffers 2 damage, or 2 wounds, and for Tassel Grayskull, they suffer 2 and become dazed. Yeah, so it's not bad at all. Again, you get the line of sight. This could work very well in strategy with some of the other characters. Then we have the Lord of Avion. Stratos cannot suffer escape damage. Move boost. Before moving, heal 1, then all enemies in spaces adjacent to Stratos suffer 1 wound. And then bonus action, perform 1 move action. So, yeah, he basically just allows him to, like, then escape guys and get around. So he's going to be all about the movement. Definitely cool. Alright. And there's Stratos' miniature. I love that he has wings, but he wears a jetpack. It's very interesting. I've never understood that. I'm sure they explained it in one of the cartoons. Probably like the 2000 He-Man, just because that one seemed to spend more time explaining characters. Alright, so what is our last... crikers. Our last heroic character is our good old magician friend, Orko. Just what would He-Man be without Orko? Alright, I think that after this, we're going to stop this video. We'll do a part 3 with the evil forces, because this is taking a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. But we have Orko at 6 health. He has magic bolts for 4 range, free attack boost, roll 2 dice. Just crazy. He already gets 2 extra no matter what. For each Tassel Grayskull, he suffers 1 wound. So that's the difference, though. Do you want to risk it? Maybe, maybe not. Then he has a regular attack, which may split attack dice between 2 enemies within range. So yeah, he can potentially roll up to 6 dice every turn, but he also risks taking damage. But be able to split it between extra characters could be very helpful. His controller side, he has magic bolts, which works very much the same, except he just combines that attack boost. And then he has Dazzle. Action, target 1 space within 4 spaces. All enemies within 2 spaces become dazed. And this becomes a bonus action. Then empowered, enemies affected by Dazzle are also pushed up to 2 spaces. So he's a very defensive type character with those types of abilities. Then in his AI, he has magic bolts again. He ignores defense and he gets to roll extra dice. They're not worried about him hurting himself there. And it's uncontrolled magic. Roll 1 die for each enemy character. They suffer the following results based on the results. Grayskull suffer 2 wounds and lose a power. Become dazed, or Orko suffers 1 wound. So again, a little hit or miss type attack, which is very Orko. Alright, his skills are Endless Hack. Roll 2 dice, then gain the following based on the result. Melee, Orko or 1 ally within 4 spaces heals 2. Range, Orko or 1 ally within 4 spaces gains 2 power. Or Tassel Grayskull, Orko suffers 1 wound, and enemy within 4 spaces suffers 2 wounds, and Surge, roll plus 1 die. So yeah, you can Surge it to potentially gain more damage. But it's Orko, so like, if you're familiar, he always has the, his magic going awry, so he potentially can take wounds for stuff, and backlashes for his abilities, but they can be very powerful as well. And then he has Magic Shield, may only use this boost on himself or any ally within 4 spaces. Roll 1 die for each range, gain 1 shield for each sword. The attacker rolls -1 die, and on a Grayskull, Orko becomes dazed after the attack. He still get, yeah, but he's rolling, Surge can roll 1 extra die, so if you roll that, that can be very helpful. because you could get extra defense or lower their attack. And you can't become dazed more than once, so the downfall isn't as bad. In yellow, he has teleport. Action, target one space within 4 spaces of Orko, then place Orko or any allies within 4 spaces of him onto that space or adjacent spaces. So, quick move around. So yeah, he can move up to 4 spaces, then any allies that are already within 4 spaces he can take with him. So you can get around the board quick. Maybe hide behind terrain, get that extra blocking damage. Then we have Dazzle, which is that we see before, but target 1 space within 4 spaces. All enemies within 2 spaces of that target become dazed and it becomes a bonus action. And then his red, we have Counter Magic. Reaction. An enemy character or controller uses a skill or plays a strategy card, roll 1 die. On a result other than Grayskull, cancel it and its effect, its power is still spent. So that's super powerful. He can basically stop any other person from using one of their skills or strategy. But it's, the result of getting that Grayskull. But he also knows, if you do hit it, they waste all their power on it. And then he has Magic Wand. The first time Orko activates each round, this skill and one other skill gain 1 power each. Reaction. After Orko rolls any dice, reroll any of those dice. So these can help with some of his his abilities that get messed up. Because, hey, I rolled bad, you can reroll that dice. And then reaction. After Orko rolls any dice, change one of those facings to any facing. So basically his Magic Wand, if once you get this, can potentially fix all them bad draws you've been getting. So, alright, that is what we have for part 1. That's the heroes. We will do a part 2, part 1 of the miniatures. So we'll do a part 3 for the base set, Clash for Eternia set, with all the evil villain Skeletor and his crew. See you guys then. Bye.